Good evening and welcome to Bright Spots. I'm your host, Laurie Labishak, a self-proclaimed happiness ambassador. I love bringing joy to the world, and Bright Spots is just another way that I try to do that. I hope that you have had a fabulous week. So far, it is hump day, right? Almost to the weekend. And I am so glad that you have decided to spend this evening with us here on Bright Spots. For the next hour, we are going to be talking with a wonderful guest, and we encourage you to interact. Please post comments, and we would love to share those comments on screen, just like this. Linda, so good to have you back with us. I'm glad you decided to join us. Thank you for popping in. If you have questions for our host, it's very easy, or for our guest or our host, just put them in the comments section underneath here, and we'll put them up on screen and answer your questions. Tonight's guest is Wendy Anderson of the St. Clairsville Area Chamber of Commerce, and I'm going to introduce her in just a minute. But as always, I'd like to start with a thought today. And as we are coming out of the pandemic, that's right, folks, we really are coming out of it. Ohio is opening up and things are looking good. So far, so good, right? So let's get back to life. One of the things that I have noticed about the good stuff that has happened because of the pandemic is a spirit of collaboration. It's amazing how people are working together, isn't it? Today, I sat in a meeting of some local leaders, and they were talking about collaborating on a big project. And it just amazed me that even though, we're social distancing in the meeting and we're talking about how things have changed since COVID, but the idea that we're all coming together for the greater good of the community to do something wonderful for our community, I wonder, would that have happened without COVID? I think we were almost there, but I think that COVID truly has created the necessity for collaboration. I'm glad, I really am, because I think we are so much stronger together where there's more than one person, when you have 2 people or 3 people or 10 people or 20 people with similar goals and different gifts to bring to the table, we can be so much stronger as a community. And I believe beyond a shadow of a doubt that we are going to come out of this thing stronger than we were going into it. So let's talk a little bit about our guest. I have her bio here, so bear with me as I tell you about Wendy Anderson. Wendy is the director of the St. Clairsville Area Chamber of Commerce, and she's been the director for the last 3 years. She was president of the chamber first for 3 years, and then she was a board member for 4 years prior to becoming the director. Wendy worked in retail. She worked for the Limited, Bath and Body Works, then as a retail manager for Victoria's Secrets. I see a theme here. How about you? She then moved to Cracker Barrel, one of my favorite places to eat, in St. Clairsville, and for 11 years, she was the retail manager there. Wendy has been in the people business for over 25 years. Her philosophy at the St. Clairsville Chamber is, the chamber is where we put your business first. And networking and connections are a base to any good chamber. Boy, we were just talking about that, right? Collaboration. Good customer service and the small details are what sets them apart. She and her husband Dave live in Bridgeport, Ohio, and they have 12 grandchildren. Color me jealous. Yes, she also has a Old English sheepdog named Sammy and 2 cats, and she is expecting her 13th grandchild in December. Ladies and gentlemen, make welcome Bright Spots guest, Wendy Anderson. Hi, Wendy. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely. So Wendy, we're going to start with just an introduction. So we talked about who you are and where you've worked and your husband and your kids. What did we leave out? What do these people need to know about Wendy Anderson that we haven't already told them?
What the biggest thing I really want to share is that my passion for the chamber, my passion for business, small business, large business, I believe business in itself needs to be the base to every good community. So if we take those businesses and we work those businesses and we provide the necessary uh, things that we can do to promote them, then we're going to have great communities all around, not just St. Clairsville. I mean, all around. And that's the one thing that even though we're St. Clairsville Area Chamber of Commerce, we are kind of like now the Ohio Valley, because we're all over. We just took over Bel Air Chamber, so we're kind of everywhere, and that's important to us. That's important to me.
Okay, so since Bright Spots started right in the middle of the pandemic, I like to ask all of my guests, did the quarantine change you? And if so, how?
It changed the way we worked in the chamber because we hired Laura Lee Brodison, who is absolutely amazing, and I feel like she's my other half. But she was only there for a week, and then we went into quarantine where she went home and she worked from home. I worked from the office, and I had to learn how to be alone in the office, which was really difficult because I'm a talker. So I would talk to myself. I had the music on. But what I learned was how to be more quiet, more patient, and learn to listen to myself and my inner voice, and to be able to be okay with me, who I was, and that was what I wanted to do.
Wow, wow, that is very insightful. And I wonder if there aren't other people out there thinking the same thing, that the quarantine actually made them get to know themselves a little better and get along with themselves a little bit better, because we were forced to be alone sometimes, right?
We couldn't talk. I mean, we could talk on the phone and we did emails, but I didn't have anybody. For weeks, we didn't have anybody come in the office because I locked the door. So I only saw my husband and myself. So I had to like myself.
So we have a message here from Sherry Munson. Is that someone you know?
Mm-hmm.
And she says, I like the way Wendy Anderson promotes every business and cares about them as if they are her own business. She truly cares. That's quite a statement. That is quite a statement. Thank you, Sherry, and thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you all for tuning in. It's great to see such a wonderful crowd this evening. So, what changes have you experienced professionally? You said you had to work alone. Were you working from home at all? Was there a time when you didn't go into the office, but you were doing things from home? And what other things changed professionally for you?
No, I worked in the office. I was there maybe not full time. Like I would go in maybe at 10 instead of 8:30, 9 o'clock. And I would leave about 5 o'clock because I still had things to do. I still had bills to pay. We still had newsletters to get out. We still had, you have to understand, I was bombarded with emails every single day when this first started from the governor's office and from Danielle Mason from the Attorney General's office and the Secretary of State. They kept sending me all these things that I had to get out and share to our members. And to me, it was very important that I gave that time to my members because, they pay me their dues. Their dues mean that I was there. That didn't mean that I stopped working for them, but I continued to work. I was very cautious of what I did. But we kept sending all of this stuff out. We also run Belmont County Safety Council through the chamber, and we had to work with the BWC through that up in Columbus, and it was a constant deluge of information that they kept sending us that I felt that it was my job to send it out to our members.
Okay, and so what about technology? A lot of businesses went to doing virtual meetings and virtual offerings. Did the chamber move to virtual, and was that something that was easy for you to adapt to, or was that new for you? Was there a learning curve there?
There was a learning curve because at first I didn't do it. At first I allowed other people to do it for me and set up the Zoom meetings for me because I was petrified of that I was going to do it wrong, or something was going to happen and it was going to be my fault. But then we started to do the research and we researched how to do Zoom. I researched how to make myself look better on Zoom, how to put the backgrounds on Zoom, and then slowly I became kind of comfortable with that, and we went ahead and bought a subscription to Zoom through the chamber. And then now we do our own Zoom meeting for our our various things that we do, our board meetings, our executive board meetings. So we do the Zoom meetings, and it was something that I had to learn how to do, but I had enough time to learn how to do it, so I did it, and it was easy. It was easy, I gotta say.
So do you think you'll keep using that technology as we come out the other side? Will there be opportunities to utilize virtual meetings in other ways, even though we can also do live meetings?
I think there is going to be a time and place for them. There's nothing like human connection, nothing like it. And that is the one thing I missed more than anything. I missed talking to Laura Lee. I missed talking to our board members. I missed that communication that I had with some of my members that would just stop by and say hi. I missed that interaction, and that where you could just talk about business and maybe get some information that was going on and share some information. I miss that, but I do believe there might be a time and place for that. However, I want to go back to the personal, the personal communication, the personal touch, the personal being together. I really do.
So, being part of the chamber is all about networking, and it's difficult to network when you're not face to face. It can be done through email and Zoom meetings and that sort of thing. So the chamber transitioned some of the networking events, like the Coffee and Connections, to Zoom meetings. How did that work, and how did the members embrace that? What were some of the stumbling blocks that you hit with that? Tell us about that experience and how that worked.
When we first did our Zoom, our Coffee and Connections, our first one was in February, where we had over 45 people that went to Care Funeral Homes and stood up and talked about their businesses. That was such a positive and a great event that we did. So we couldn't wait to do it again in March. Well, we set it up in March and then COVID hit. So that's when we had to do the Zoom meeting. I could not have the Zoom meeting. I've been on a couple Zoom meetings, and everything that I read, they said, do not go any more than 30 people in a Zoom meeting because it was going to lose its effect. And with our Coffees and Connection, you have to understand, my biggest thing is for my businesses to be able to talk about their business and what's going on. What are they giving away? What's their specials? What are they doing? And how I can help them. So it was really important for me to give them that platform to be able to speak. So we went ahead and started our Zoom calls, and we limited it to 25 people. And it was amazing because we had so many people that wanted to come on, and I had people that would call me like 1 minute before we started our Zoom meeting, and they said, I forgot to register. Well, I would let them in. But that's what happened. So we ended up with at least 32 people at each Zoom meeting, so our Coffee Connection. And then the other thing we did is we had, instead of having our businesses talk, I thought, well, let's get somebody to speak about things that are important and what we need to know during this pandemic. So we had the Belmont County Commissioner, the Health Commissioner. He spoke about what to do for soft openings, when Ohio was going to do some soft openings. And then we had the treasurer of Ohio, what to do about money, the money situation, the loans, where should we go for that? And then I noticed that people were really interested in it. And then we ended up going to, when things really opened in West Virginia, we had Ogilvy Institute come on, and they talked about what was going on in Ogilvy Institute. And now we have Ogilvy Foundation coming up for July 1st. And we went from one coffee and connection a month to, we ended up doing two a month because of the Zoom. And I felt like the information needed to get out there, and I wanted people to talk about their business. So we would have the people talk for like 15 minutes. And then we went around the circle. Everybody got to speak about their business. This is what we're offering. This is what we're doing. These are our times. This is what's changed. Just whatever they wanted to get out there, they had that platform to talk. And we made it from 8 to 9:30.
And I think that 8 to 9:30 is a great time for business folks, because they're, just getting into work and maybe not getting started on something. Mm-hmm. And also with a Zoom meeting, you can multitask. I mean, let's face it, we can be on the call and be at our desk and keep doing other things, and still get the benefit of the education that you're offering, which is really, really great. Yeah. So for those of you just tuning in, you are tuning into Bright Spots, a weekly show that highlights local folks who are doing great things in our communities and shining a light. Today's guest is Wendy Anderson, the Executive Director of the St. Clairsville Area Chamber of Commerce. So thank you for tuning in, and thank you again, Wendy, for joining us. So let's talk about the chamber. A lot of folks who maybe are not business owners or are not working in a business that is active in the chamber, perhaps some of our listeners don't know what the chamber does. So tell us what the chamber does. What's your mission? Why do you exist? How did you start? Give us the nuts and bolts.
So in 1940, which will be 80 years in October, our chamber started. And it started with just a few people, and they did it out of their home. And so it evolved into business after hours. It evolved into just different businesses. So they were more community driven instead of business driven. So then as the years went by, they got more into the business aspect of a chamber, where they did more community or less community and more business. And so where we are now, where I was before I started 3 years ago, we were really in a position where we weren't looking so hot. People they didn't like us because we weren't really focused on our business. We started focusing more on business after hours, and we became the party kind of chamber. And that's where, when I came on, we decided not to do that. That wasn't the way we wanted to do it. We had May Cook. He was the president at the time. So we sat down and we decided that we wanted to focus on business. And I told him in my interview, that's what I want to do, is focus on the business. We have to get networking. We have to get connection, because if we want it to grow, that's what's going to happen. Well, we started out with 290 some members. Right now, we're up to almost close to 500 members, which I'm so proud of. And we offer so many different things for people. We offer we have our annual dinner. We have our chamber luncheons, which our chamber luncheons were so important to us, and we felt that impact when we weren't allowed to have them anymore, because they were sponsored lunches, and it gave a really big platform for somebody who wanted to pay. They paid $500 to sponsor this lunch, and they had a whole hour of all these people, and we had at least 60 to 70 people at each luncheon. So it was very important, that connection and that networking that we did. But we offered the coffee and connections, obviously. We have art walks now. We started our Halloween bash back again. But instead of being more like a party, we do it as a networking event. And we do it with the businesses in mind. And I think that's what's really important, because town is very excited about the chamber, and most businesses in town are our members. And we do the parade, and that is something we've been doing for at least 30 years that I know of.
Okay, so we have a question. Was it hard to recruit new members during COVID?
No. And I'll tell you why. Because Laura Lee is such an amazing marketing person that we have on staff. With myself, we came together and we decided to do the newsletter as we have. We would do it, once a month, but now we went every week now. So now we have it every Friday. So people started to see what we were doing because we would share it on Facebook, and people would share our link to our newsletter. What they found in our newsletter was it was all about business, what they offer, what they can have. When they see what we can do for them, they want to have that same thing. So we actually opened it up in March and April and May to non-members as well as members, because I just felt that was fair. I wanted to give the non-members a feel for what we can do for them. So when we did that, we had more members in May than we have had in the past May. It was incredible. It was just incredible. So, we're averaging like maybe 1 to 2 new members a week. That says that's so awesome. That's just awesome.
That's fabulous. Mm-hmm. And it's great that people saw the value of what you were doing throughout the pandemic. I know I get newsletters and all of the different resources for small businesses, the small business loans, all of the different things that were available for relief during COVID. It was very important to have all of that information in one place, right. And you knew where to go to find out how to do that.
Yeah.
So we have a message here from someone that knows you, I'm sure, because she loves you. Katen Beth, is that right? Okay.
Yeah, Beth, yeah.
So thank you, Katen. Thank you for joining in. We appreciate it. And we have Eric and Lauren Hersey, which I know they have been guests on the Zoom meetings.
Yes, they have.
Yeah, so lots of kudos here, Miss Wendy. You're a rock star, right? You're a rock star. Look at that. See, she's a boss lady if there ever was one, right?
Absolutely.
Right. Okay.
So what this did, the one thing that COVID did was it opened up a whole new world for people. So Facebook was the place to go. So you had our members, which was 3 Lab Salvage, Boutique on Main, the Snotty Pooch. You had Kelly Sweets that did these awesome live shows, and you would grab your wine, grab your credit card, and you would shop. I shopped. There were things that I would never have seen if I did not look on Facebook. So it opened up a whole new world for people. They got new people to come into their shops that didn't know what they were or who they were. And then you would have people that your restaurants around the world gourmet, they created dinners for people for family meals. So you could do that. You could do I have a list here because I was just so excited. WTRF, they had a list of everything that was open, curbside, times, dates, or phone numbers. And it was just such a group effort, and it was such a large group effort that these members were phenomenal what they did. And it was so cool to go downtown and yes, everything was closed, but you felt there was that energy that you could feel going in town, because you could still feel it through the closed doors, because you knew they were behind the doors. They were doing a Facebook Live, and they were doing really, really well with that. So that was one of the things that we were so excited for. And that wasn't just St. Clairsville. I mean, you had Nini's up at the Highlands. She was doing the same thing. And that was just a cool thing to see, all of us coming together, because we were all in this together.
I agree, Wendy, and that goes back to that spirit of collaboration that has truly been rekindled because of COVID, because we were forced to find another way to connect. And I mean, thank heavens for social media, right?
Yeah.
That we had the ability to hop on Facebook and connect with folks and Zoom. You know, one of the hottest items through Best Buy or Amazon.com was the video cams, the webcams, and they're still sold out. You still cannot buy a webcam right now. So you know that certainly changed the way we do business, and it has changed the way that we connect with people. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Bright Spots, a weekly show highlighting folks that are shining their light in our community. We're going to take a quick break now and let you know what's coming up next on Spots. Remember, this show airs every week. Invite your friends, come and see us. We would love to have you every week. I'm going to give Wendy a chance to take a breath, and we'll be right back. Don't go away. There's more to come on Bright Spots. And we are back. Welcome back to Bright Spots. Our guest this evening is Wendy Anderson, the fabulous, wonderful, beautiful Wendy Anderson from the St. Clairsville Area Chamber of Commerce. And we are thrilled to have Wendy with us, telling us about how the Chamber is supporting business throughout the pandemic, but not only throughout the pandemic, before the pandemic, and I am absolutely sure after the pandemic. So, Wendy, you know, we did have a stay-at-home order here in Ohio. You were allowed to go to work, but you pretty much had to come home. You know, the necessities, grocery shopping. What was the biggest challenge for you personally with the stay-at-home order and not being able to do the things you normally do?
Not being able to do the things I would normally do. I am not. I am not one. I am one of these. I go out of the box all the time, and it's really difficult for me to just do nothing. I can't. I just can't. My husband and I both worked through this whole thing. He was out on the road the whole time. I was working, and my kids would tell you, you know, I wasn't allowed to see the grandkids because I was working. But listen, I felt it was really important because I was getting paid to work. I wasn't getting paid to stay home, and that I could not wrap my brain around that. My job, because when you become my member, we work for you then. And I had to continue to work because all these people were, you know, still paying their dues. So it was really difficult for me to stay home. Couldn't do it.
Sure. Lauren Hersey has a comment for us, and Lauren says, if you are not a chamber member and need help getting the word out about your business, then the chamber is for you. We've got lots of comments here. We'll try to get to all of them, folks. Thank you so much for interacting. Laura Lee, boy, Wendy has been singing your praises.
Yeah.
Well, what a beautiful comment. Wendy is the magic that makes the chamber work. I'm so blessed to get to work with her. What a beautiful comment. Absolutely. And MT Welsh from the Vagabond Kitchen has a comment. And he says the pandemic has given us an excellent opportunity to realize how interconnected we truly are. Beautiful comment, Matt. I totally agree with you. I am in awe at the spirit of collaboration, as I mentioned earlier, that has come out of this pandemic, this, what's the word that everyone was tired of hearing, unprecedented times. Yeah, but there are some good things. There really are some good things that have come out of this. So as we begin to transition to normal life, what do you believe is going to be our biggest challenge in that, Wendy, both from a personal standpoint and a business standpoint? What do you think are going to be our biggest challenges as we transition into our new normal?
Well, you're going to have what I've always said, the introverts, this was awesome for them. They were like all happy. The extroverts, it was really difficult for us. But I think you're going to see maybe a little transition because some of the extroverts that were really out there all the time who had to stay home, they're loving it. They want to stay home. So I think we might see a change in our business acumen as where some people will have to stay home and they choose to stay home because their employers are saying, do you want to stay home and work? And they're going to say, yes, they want to stay home because they can get more done. Personally, I can't get things done at home because I'm more worried about running the sweeper, cleaning the litter box or whatever. I need to be focused. I need to be at work. I need to have that interaction. We see that is a challenge with some of our members. And even on Zoom, our Zoom calls, our coffee connections, they say the same thing, that they want to get out there, but the ones who I thought would want to get out there are saying they want to stay home. So I do believe it's going to be a game changer on how we do things. So us as a chamber, we have to be fluid. We have to work and we have to change the way with everybody how they're doing things. We have to change and we have to be flexible. We can't just do the things we used to do, and we have to take that and have that mindset that we have to be flexible. And it's not always going to be the same, but we can create a new normal. And I'm okay with that. Like you said, it has brought all of us to a point where, for instance, you do the morning music, which I listen to your music because I scrolled through Facebook one morning. So I listened to your music. I knew you sang, but I kind of, you sang a song that kind of got to me. And I thought, so then I started to watch for you. So now you have a new fan in me, which you probably would not have had prior to this. And I think it has given people a way to express themselves and bring more people into the mix. Sherry Dunleavy, who does an amazing inspirational, she has an inspirational message, which is amazing. She has gotten that out. Lauren Hershey, the same thing. Lauren is a strong female boss. She's given people, some of these women, the power to say, okay, I can do this. Yeah, I can do this. And that's what we want to show. It's not just women, it's men too. And I think that is what we're going to see. We're going to see a whole different personality come out from some of these people.
Absolutely. And of course, Lauren and Sherry have both been guests on Bright Spots. They are both bright spots in our community. And if you don't follow Sherry Dunleavy, All Things Awesome page on Facebook, and Lauren Hersey's blog, strongfemaleboss.com, do that, because they are absolutely both bright spots and are truly shining in our community. And so, Wendy, I'm sure that businesses have reached out to you with questions about what can we do, what can't we do. What do you find is the most the biggest struggle for businesses as they begin to reopen with the new restrictions that are in place? And also, are there any unique circumstances that you know of that perhaps a business called and maybe it surprised you that they had a certain request, or, and you don't have to name the business, but what are some of the things people are reaching out to the chamber for as we begin to reopen and the state begins to give us restrictions on how businesses can now operate?
Well, when businesses call us and ask that question, because they do, we tell them exactly what we're getting from the state, and we let them know we do not make the rules. This is coming from Columbus, and this is what we have to. This is where we have to adhere to. Some of the people, they're just worried about the mask, and I had one company called me because they were desperate to get masks, and we found out where they could get the mask and the hand sanitizers, and we went to Porterfield and Care Funeral Homes had donate. We got some donations for masks, and they were just, everybody that walked through their doors had to have a mask, had to have hand sanitizers. They really wanted gloves, and then we had to talk them through. They didn't have to have the gloves. Not everybody had to have the mask, and kind of calm them down a bit and let them know it's okay. You should wear masks, but not everybody that walks through your door is going to. Make sure you mark on the floor the 6 feet apart, and have a table that we do at the chamber. We have a table that it's set up there with hand sanitizers and masks, and you can do what you want. If that's what you want, if that's your personal opinion, you want to wear that, then please do. We'll give it to you. But some businesses are just they want to know, when can we open? When can we go back to normal? Well, I'm not going to be able to have that question. And my go-to person is Danielle Mason. She works for the Attorney General, and she's been a wealth of information for me. And I'll call her and I'll ask her these questions. So I have a go-to person that I can ask in Columbus that will be able to tell me these things when I get a question that I can't answer. I don't answer questions that I don't know, because I don't want to give them the wrong answer. I want them to have the correct information.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of conflicting information out there. What we find out today sometimes is different tomorrow. And I think staying on top of what the governor is saying, and Dr. Atkin, then the chamber can give the best advice to the business owners. And as someone who works in a local business, I appreciate the fact that you've been able to do that and keep us informed of what is going on.
Sure.
So Wendy, we are getting back to normal, and the chamber has some wonderful things coming up. I'd love for you to share with our listeners, especially those out there who maybe are business owners and are not members of the chamber. Tell them some of the things that are coming up, when you're going to start doing in-person meetings, what that's going to look like, and are there any fun things happening that folks might want to get involved with?
Okay, well, before I start that, I have to thank my board. We have an awesome 13-member board, and our executive board, and Jennifer Garavix is our president, and she is amazing, and she lets us basically do what we want to do within, some parameters that we have to do. But I'm very lucky to have them as my board. But what we have done was we went to, like I said, our newsletter every week now, every Friday. We have Ohio Valley Highlights, where we take a business and we can put that in our newsletter, and we upload it to YouTube. And it's like a 1 to 2 minute video about a group or a member. We have Chamber Chips that Laura Lee and I do, and we had Lisa White from Westwind Travel. When traveling was starting to open, she's the travel agent, so we had her on and we talked to her about it, and we just had fun with it. We do our email blast, we do our social media, so we do a lot of things for businesses, and that stuff is free. We don't charge that. That is just for business who pays their dues. a couple things we're doing are Zoom calls, of course, for Coffee and Connection. We have our next one is July 1st, and we have Ogilvy Foundation. And then on July 15th, we have decided to go person to person. We're going to have a Zoom, or I mean, a Coffee and Connections in person at the St. Clairsville Rec Center. So what we're going to do there is the Rec Center has actually, they have worked with us. We're going to have tables set apart, 4 people at a table, 6 feet apart, and we are working with Panera. We have a wonderful relationship with Panera, who's a great member of ours. They're going to do the catering, and it's going to be a speak out. And that's one of these things that we've had to do. Some of our luncheons were speak outs, and sometimes we would have up to 70 to 80 people that wanted to be there at our luncheons because they love that speak out. They get to talk about their business. The other thing that we have done is we started Food Truck Friday, and that's been a little difficult actually, but we had Salsa Joe from Tex-Mex, and I will tell you, we put that on our Facebook. We shared it. We did some High Valley highlights. We had over 6,000 views on our Facebook page, so it was crazy, the people that saw that post. We also have, like this Friday is Woodfire Pizza. We had a food truck from Canton, La Macaron. He came down. He had macarons and gelato and something else he had. But he did a phenomenal job. He loved it. And he's coming back down. And then we have, it's called, I think it's called the Chick Farmer. So she's going to be there. And we put all this stuff on our Facebook. And we have egg pigs. So I cannot wait for that to happen. And the Happy Chick Farm, I'm sorry. So I do have the dates. July 17th, the Happy Chick Farm. July 24th, La Macarons coming back down from Canton. And July 31st is Eggs Pigs, and they are coming. And we also, as a chamber, we purchased 10 high top tables, and Roxanne Bruce put a nice logo on them. So we're actually renting them out. So Lamar is renting 10 of our tables for an event that they're doing. So we're also helping our area businesses with social distancing or things that they need. We're there to help them. So they're going to rent our tables. And we can put them up. We'll be, 6 feet apart, and it'll be a lot of fun. And those are the things we want to do. I'm looking forward to the parade, believe it or not. I'm looking forward to our annual dinner. If we're going to have it or not, we're still not sure. We have Dr. Sarah Weck as our speaker, so we're kind of excited about that, but we're not sure. And our Halloween bash. So those are the things that are up and coming, I can say hopefully.
Yes, absolutely. So folks, if you are looking for information about the chamber, they do have a website, and the website is, help me out, Wendy, what's the URL? STChamber.com.
Yep.
Scroll across the bottom of the screen, and this is what it looks like. So you can check that out and go take a look at their website. And they've got a lot of great information on there. stchamber.com. So be sure you check that out. You can actually join online, correct, Wendy?
Yes,
you can join online. And it's a wonderful way to find out what's going on with the chamber, see what events are coming up, and if you decide you want to go ahead and join, if you're not already a member, you can do that as well. And there's a lot of perks on the website when you are a member. You can add things to the calendar. There's lots of stuff on there that you can take advantage of. So be sure you check out stchamber.com and join the chamber if you haven't already. I know Wendy would love to have some new members. And so Wendy, we are wrapping up here. Is there anything else that you would like to share with our viewers?
No, I'm very blessed to have this position. Very, very blessed. And I really love all of our business members that we have. And if you become a if you become a chamber member and you're not already, we can work with you. We can help you. We can do anything that you need us to do to promote your business. And that's what we're in the market for, to promote your business, and to make sure that you get your message out there. We're an
So
advocate for you.
let's talk a little bit about membership. We didn't do that. So, what are the different levels, and not the cost, but there are different levels of membership, correct? Depending on the size of your business or whether you're a solo entrepreneur. What are the different ways that you can join and be a part?
The one that everybody goes to is usually there's a professional level, and then there's a non-professional level. And when we say professional, we mean doctor, lawyer, that kind of profession. But if you are a regular business, like a restaurant or a boutique, then we charge you depending on how many employees that you have. And it's very inexpensive. And like I said, with that, you get the newsletter, you get everything with that. You get us. You get ribbon cuttings. Now we're doing virtual ribbon cuttings because right now we're not doing the ribbon cuttings in person, but we're getting ready to do Char House on the Boulevard, which is in Wheeling. We're getting ready to do their ribbon cutting, which is a virtual one. Wheeling Coffee and Spice, we're getting ready to do theirs. There's several of them, but so it's all about the amount of employees that you have. We just had the boss lady come in, and she's a baker today, and hers was $50 because it's individual. So you can be an individual member if you want to, because with that, you get the newsletter. In the newsletter, you get all the information that everybody else gets. And that's important because people want to know what's going on. They want to be able to, and we have like tabs on our newsletter that you can click and go directly to the website, go directly to their Facebook page, go directly to purchase tickets or whatever. That is all in that that's all included.
Okay. So folks, you've gotten the information now. We want you to reach out to Wendy at the chamber, or Laura Lee. Okay. And you can find more information at stchamber.com. Be sure you check that out. They also have a Facebook page. Just search St. Clairsville Area Chamber of Commerce, and you will find all sorts of information on their webpage. Thank you for tuning into Bright Spots. And Wendy, thank you so much for being our guest tonight. We truly appreciate you being here. And we appreciate everyone chiming in the beautiful comments about my sweet friend, Miss Wendy. And, you know, I've known Wendy a lot of years. I also served on the board at the St. Clairsville Chamber. And I've known Wendy a good while. And it's always a pleasure to see your smiling face, my sweet friend. And I look forward to being more involved as we go forward. And ladies and gentlemen, please join us again next week. And I hope you come back every week for Bright Spots. Please like us on Facebook and share as much as you will. Wendy, thank you so much. And I will see you next week on Bright Spots.